פרופסור מרי לואיס מקלו, שהיא אפידמיולוגית בבית החולים אוניברסיטת ניו סאות' בווילס. שלום, שלום לך.
שלום, תודה שהזמנתם אותי.
תודה שאת כאן איתנו, יודעת קצת מילים בעברית, אבל אנחנו נעבור עכשיו לאנגלית. So, Professor Maklo, we heard that Australia managed to win the pandemic. There are no new cases of coronavirus of COVID-19 in Australia. Is it true?
It's true, yes. I mean, we have the occasional case that comes in from the aeroplanes or from freight ships. But yes, so we have 27,000, nearly 28,000 cases to date. Most of those were local. And then we had a second wave in Victoria that caused over 16,000 cases, and they've got it to zero. So it's been about 40 days of zero cases in Victoria. Wow. And of course, in New South Wales, we have one or two cases so it's practically zero across the country.
So how you succeeded in lowering the COVID-19 cases to zero?
Well, there are a couple of things that all the states and territories, so there are 8 states and territories in Australia, they had very good contact tracing. Contact tracers have to find the contacts of the cases within 24, 48 hours. Then ask them to think back 2 days before they had their symptoms. And we've been able to get really on top of all of those cases. Initially, Victoria didn't, but then, of course, they increased and started training more contact tracers. One of the big successes, of course, was cooperation. Mm-hmm. And most Australians trust their authorities to look after them and their health. When they say stay at home, mm-hmm. they stayed at home. When they say wear a mask, they wear a mask. So all honour to the Victorians who were in lockdown, severe lockdown, for 114 days.
So maybe the policy should be go to zero and not live with the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. This living with the pandemic is not very good for the elderly, and it's not very good for the 20 to 39-year-olds who may get long hauler or long COVID and have these terrible symptoms like fog brain, problems with breathing and problems with their heart. We don't know how long this long hauler will go for. So I'd really commend all Israelis to please listen to their authorities and cooperate, because you're all in this together and you won't be able to get close to zero unless you do exactly what the authorities ask you to do.
So what is your best advice, Professor Maklo, to the Israeli ministers, government, the Israeli public? What is your best advice now that Israel is in front of the third wave?
Mm-hmm. So my best advice is do wear a mask all the time outside. It has to become second nature. Hand hygiene all the time. Keep your distance. Stay at home when you don't need to go out. Wear that mask in your shopping malls. And please attend your religious and cultural events via the internet. You do not need to leave home. So you have to have, sadly, a lockdown to put a stop to the case numbers, to give a break for your health system, and of course to stop more clusters building up. And of course, if you'd like a job, I'm sure that the government needs more contact tracers because in America they have 5 tracers to every case. And we have about that here. Mm-hmm. It's the only way to get on top of all the potential contacts and get tested. Please go and get tested, even if you have no symptoms, because you can be infectious from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th day after exposure before you get any symptoms.
So basically now, life as usual in Australia besides the masks?
Yes, beside the masks, in Victoria, they have to wear the masks in transport and in shopping malls, but life is back to normal. In my state, which is the largest state in Australia, life is very back to normal. We're a little concerned about the holiday season coming up, but we have very few cases. And the thing that is wonderful about the Australians is they've learned if they feel unwell, first think COVID. Don't think flu, don't think summer cold, think COVID and go and get tested. And while you're waiting for those results, stay at home.
Professor Marie-Louise מקלו, thank you so much. תודה רבה.
רק בריאות.
רק בריאות.